established author, poet, social activist, dramatist, and she has been ex-president of Inner Wheel Club of Madras South and vice president of EWIT, that is Empowering Women in IT. And she currently holds the designations of EMEA, Network Transformations Leader in IBM. Although a busy person by profession, she manages skillfully find time for dedicating and valuable time, I could say, giving motivational speeches at various colleges and corporates and institutions on various topics like mental wellness and career guidance, and particularly women empowerment and technology and latest market trends, soft skills, and diversity related to the topic also, disability rights and RTI. And she's a famous TV personality, and with her speeches appearing on various TV channels regularly. And I would like to mention one thing: her WhatsApp status. I used to see her WhatsApp status, always filled with the events she attends on any given day, providing her hectic schedule. Despite these things, she has been a strong supporter for disability rights and has personally contributed significantly to the welfare abandoned, disabled, and mentally retarded children. Hats off to you, ma'am. And through a number of care homes for abandoned children, and she's very passionate in digital transformations and is also project on mindful consumptions. And her awards no limits as it is included, but it's not limited to the Star in Focus Award from ABN AMRO and EWIT Excellence Award, Most Valuable Player from HP Award, and APMM Diamond Award from our Musk. And from Musk, thank you, mom. Hats off to you also. Eminence and Excellence Award from IBM and Trendsetter in ITES Working Women's Achiever Award, Shiroz, like Woman Icon Award, and so on. Mom, you have been a source of motivations, providing that good will and strong dedications and determination, I could say, can take a person to any higher heights. So thank you for giving us your valuable despite your busy schedule. And I would like to specify one quote for you, especially: the empowered woman is powerful beyond measure, and beautiful beyond descriptions also. And keep glowing, mom, keep rocking. The world needs your magic, and especially human. We hope and wait eagerly for listening your energetic talk and informative talk. And thank you so much for accepting our request, and over to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kalpana, and especially to the management of Amit University, Dr. Baldwin, Dr. Rajvel, Dr. Arivalagan, everybody over here who actually gave this wonderful opportunity and platform to talk about methodologies for managing slow learners. Honestly speaking, looking back, I have been a very average student in school. Not never been able to get A grades, never been able to score that centums that I always wanted to. I was a very average student. Despite of that, I think the small push that my teachers gave me, the small confidence that my parents injected in me, is behind all what Dr. Kalpana read about me. That was a very long biodata, and I'm sorry, students, for having put you through that, but just to motivate that even each one of you coming from a very modest backgrounds, from a town girl to a Chennai city metropolitan, different name, different language, different culture, and completely unaccustomed situations. And I think that's what the real warriors survive, right? When you are put through difficult situations and challenge your comfort zone, I think that is when the real victory comes. It's not about having every comfort and then achieving. It's about having nothing and still going and making your mark, leaving your legacy behind. I think each one of you, first of all, a grand salute for choosing in a university like Amit, because maritime industry is especially not too a regular one compared to the arts or science college or compared to engineering streams. This is one thing which you can come only because you have that special urge in you to make it. I have a friend, Reshma Nilofer, who's the first maritime sailor captain in India, and she's the president awardee. And I have heard her stories, and it's absolutely amazing to see a woman maritime sailor pilot. She's called She Pilot of India, the first and probably the only two she pilots right now in the maritime industry in India. When ma'am was talking about Maersk, I had the great privilege of catering to the infrastructure needs of Maersk for almost 5 good years. We have handled their infrastructure, their data centers, servers, applications, and everything, including a very huge malware attack in 2017. So this, in fact, has enriched my connect with the shipping and logistics industry, and it makes me understand how important this particular industry is in the supply chain management of the worldwide trade and economy. So each one of you are behind this entire industrial goods and services transportation across the seven seas, across the borders. So each one of you, it is okay to have limitations, it is okay to have our own challenges. Despite of that, if you just have that line of control within yourself on what you can achieve, I think we don't need to achieve or get into the highest peak of Mount Everest. If we can come and achieve one step at a time in our life, think about where we can, from where we were 5 years back, and how far we can go in the next 5 years. Here, the challenge is not against anybody else, my friends. Each one of us should compete against our yesterday for a better tomorrow. It is very important. If we start comparing with others and see their progress or growth, and if we think that we have to be like somebody else, it only will result in a huge disappointment. You have to compete against yourself. If you were earning 10 rupees yesterday, focus on how you can earn 20 rupees today or 40 rupees tomorrow. I'm telling in a financial perspective because unfortunately we are living in a world that recognizes success with money still, that recognizes with credibility, that recognizes with people who acknowledge that you are something in the society. So that matters a lot. That is not a small factor saying, I don't care about materialistic wealth. Unfortunately, the world's success is still defined on the materialistic wealth. Despite of that, if you get 10 rupees, you can give back to the society 1 rupee. If you get 20 rupees, you can give 2 rupees back. If you get 40 rupees, you can give 4 rupees back to the society. So your growth is directly in correlation to what you can actually give back to your motherland, because that is the smallest rent that we pay for being human beings on this planet Earth and having used its resources left, right, and center. So let's get into the presentation with no more delay and see how best and how fast we can actually support ourselves. And what are the methodologies? I'm not going to get into an intricate way of talking about the methodologies that scare you. I'm going to talk about very generic perspective of small things that you need to address in everyday life. Because I, being a diversity and inclusion activist, I want an equalitarian society. This society should give an equal opportunity for all of us. It is irrespective of the race, gender, class, creed, or anything that matters as a discrimination. Today we are talking about discrimination, but there were days in the past, civilizations ahead, the historical stories tell us that we were much more an inclusive society back there. We have somewhere missed it in the transition between being what we were and in an urge to become something which we are not, actually not possible to be. So we think that it has got Western influence and all that. But if you really look at the Western world, I lived there for a few years and I know that whatever we say that Western culture, it doesn't exist. There is no Valentine's Day celebrations there. There is no specific big the whatever we call as special days, whatever we think that there are no value systems of families, nothing. I have seen 60th wedding anniversary celebrated in America, which means that they do still have, but we only take on what has been showcased in the movies and the entire TRP driven media industry. We understand that what we see is what is the truth, but we don't analyze that because we don't go beyond that. It is one small step for man that is a giant leap for mankind. These are the words of Neil Armstrong way back in 1960s when the first ever man landed in the moon, where there was a try and the try succeeded. The biggest failure for mankind would have been had they not been tried anything, right? So even if you are a slow learner, or even if you are a fast learner, or whatever may be your difference from the so-called normalcy of the society, remember that you have to try to be yourself. It's very important that you actually try to be yourself and nobody else. It's very, very important. Why is the need for inclusion? And why, when we talk about slow learners, slow learners need extra care. They need therapeutic support. They need little bit of more support in terms of how they need to be handled. It's called compensatory teaching, especially for our teachers, especially for our parents. They need to understand that there can be few special needs children. Here the special needs can be anything. The children can be when I call children, for me all students are children, right? So I address them as my children. So what it means is that these children necessarily need not have remedial teaching, but they definitely need instructional strategies that can help them to survive. Because what happens is, when we were in school, getting 70% used to be a class topper. We used to say that you are a distinction holder. 75% above is a distinction for us. But today we are living in a world where every 10th grader is craving for the 10 on 10 CGPA. Every parent wants a child to score 95%. Is it possible? Technically, I don't know how the children are making it possible, the kind of pressure that they are getting on. But let me tell you, that is very disastrous. That is very, very disastrous. Because what you are setting as a benchmark may not be possible for everybody. So it is very important that we develop lessons based on the needs of the child to learn. If there is a slow learner, we have to make them feel that they are not being left out, first of all, as a society. Second, we have to ensure that they don't drop out of the school or the system, because when I talk about school, most of the Western world refers colleges also as schools. So when we talk about any institution where a teaching happens, the dropouts and pushouts happen to be the people who cannot fit into the system. So you have to ensure that you actually embrace them with empathy. Don't show sympathy, don't show anger, don't show your frustration on teaching, remedial teaching, or the institutional strategic teaching that needs to address slow learners. This is a message for the teachers, message for all the professors in here. Same time, if you are a student who is a slow learner or even a fast learner, you may, as a fast learner, you may get agitated that you're sitting in a class where already you have studied something. You may feel being totally out of the place, or you may feel that you are being actually undervalued. All this is fine, but in the classroom everyone is equal, and it's very important that the equality begins from homes, begins from our colleges. All of us have this right to education, and also there is a right to address individual needs and abilities. So when we talk about compensatory teaching, if a slow learner is not able to write faster or not able to respond in the class, don't confront them in front of everybody. If you are a slow learner and you are having a difficulty, please go and meet your professor or a teacher separately and tell them that you have a problem. The first step is to identify the problem and telling that you are ready for the change. It's very, very important. Nobody is going to help you. And people will really empathize and help you the minute you feel that it is, you who wants to improve yourself. It is not your parents, it is not your teachers, it's not anybody who will be able to push you unless you are ready for your growth. So it's very important that you approach your teachers and tell them your limitations. Definitely teachers will be very understanding. They will do everything in their means to support you. It's very important you tell them that you're not able to understand a lesson in the way they're teaching. They will try, teachers will definitely try ways and means to actually come up with audiovisual methods, come up with additional teaching aids, come up with additional notes for you, or a very simpler language. For example, not everybody understands very, very strong language, right? So the teachers may try to decode it and put it in a very simple terms that all of you will understand. So if you are having a difficulty, the first step is for you to tell that seeking help is not an issue. First and foremost, we should learn to go and ask help. That is when the help will come. Please remember that you should not be embarrassed, you should not be feeling guilty, or it is not your individual problem if you are having an issue. It is a collective problem which the college, which the professors, your parents, all will ensure that you are being supported. Then only the first step is the identification of the issue and acceptance. I call this triple A concept. First and foremost, it's very important to have awareness, then accept the limitation and provide accessibility. This accessibility, awareness, and acceptance is very important because only when you understand the problem, you accept the problem, and you focus on solutions, we can actually address any challenge for the student. Not only your slow learning can be because of any basic issues. For example, the person may have a hearing challenge, a listening difficulty, understanding difficulty, because a cognitive understanding may not be up to the mark, or the child may be suffering with visual impairment. Trust me, friends, if I remove the specs, I cannot read what is on the screen. I also have a visual impairment for that matter, which means that I have an aid called spectacles that help me to actually read or write what I want to. So all of us have challenges. It's only important that you identify what is your problem. There may be students who have physical disability, then communication challenge. Children actually may have speech problem. For example, there can be stuttering, there can be stammering when you have to answer a question. And teachers will also give you additional time to answer in the class or respond in the question papers, provided they know what you are suffering with. So if you have a problem, it is very important that either you or your parents communicate that to the institution. Nobody is going to throw you out of the institution or say that you cannot be part of this college or part of this course because you have a problem. There can be language disorders. We see a lot of children coming from different backgrounds, different remote villages, from northeast, from several other, our own down south of Tamil Nadu, where, the actual language is a barrier. They may have had their initial education in their own language, for example, a Tamil medium college or an Oriya medium college. And then they come here for higher studies, and that's when they face the problems. It is actually not a language disorder. It is language inconvenience. For them, give them support. If you are a student having this particular challenge, Do not hesitate. I will tell you a simple technique. When I came to Chennai 30 years back, I had no knowledge of Tamil. I used to listen, because movies is one place where you can actually learn the language. So it's very important that you listen and you understand the language slowly. And then if you can spend some time writing and reading, do that. Nothing else. A small for developing your skills in English, I give you two tips. The first tip is read your newspaper in English loud. When we were all in school, we during the prayer meeting, we used to have a news reading session where each one of us used to be called and asked to read 10 headlines, right? Follow that. Read it loud for yourself. Write down and see the headlines once and reread it. If you are able to read it and understand it, that's the first step. Second step is taking the dictionary and reading 10 words every day. 10 words doesn't take more than 10 minutes. This is for your self growth. When I first time won a forest department competition way back in my 10th standard, one collector gifted me an Oxford dictionary and said, you have to use this. You have to read 10 words a day. Trust me, I still do that. Why? Because the 10 words, even if you know that, you are getting stronger in the 10 words. If you are not knowing that, you are learning it. So it's very important that, as you do this, your command over the language is improved. You don't need to get into an American accent, or we are not working on call centers. You don't need to get into a very different accent, which is not possible. I work on global projects. I never try to manipulate my way of speaking. I speak my own language in my own way. People do understand and respect you for what you are. If we try to, of course, there are call center jobs and there are global jobs that need you to actually improve your accent also. It's called accent neutralization, so that the people from other countries understand you. But the basic ground is, if your communication is clear, precise, and up to the mark, if your communication is simple, don't use jargons. We are all not Sashi Tharoor's family to use dictionary language. The dictionary exercise is only to improve our language skills. It's not for becoming somebody whom we are not originally. And then behavior changes also affect how we as learners are. Hyperactivity, attention disorders. Trust me, friends, in all the webinars that I conduct, the first 20 minutes is what I get the undue attention. Even when I attend a session, I'll tell you, if I attend a session for 2 hours, maybe for 1 hour, I'll be very focused. Beyond that, my attention is gone. We are all basic human beings. We are used to classrooms. We are not used to this online session. We will slowly get there. So as far as digital learning is concerned, we are all slow learners today. So how do you pay your attention? How do you focus your concentration and not let any of this make you depressed is very important. This also, when you are a slow learner, there is also a problem of having the fear that if you're not able to finish your homework on time, if you're not able to finish your examination on time, it adds you stress. It actually hits your confidence and self-esteem. Please understand, all of us go through all this. It is not just you. So it's very important all of us focus on the solution than on the problems. That is the first step. Acceptance, it's very important to integrate everybody than to segregate. If there are two people in the class who are slow learners, we should not say தமிழ்ல சொல்லணும்னா மக்கு பசங்க அப்படின்ட்டு டக்குன்னு. Let's not do that. Let's not categorize them. Let's not classify somebody depending upon their limitations. Let's respect what their strengths are. They are intellectually very strong. Let me tell you, anybody with a different ability are called positively abled, and they are extremely talented people. So it's very, very important that we understand the limitations. You don't need to be a special educator here. You don't need to be somebody who put a child through a therapy or something like that. first and foremost, inclusive environment is what will make them sustain along with regular students. You have little bit of adjustment issues. Yes, accept that. It's very important we acknowledge our own limitations. If I have only this time and space, let me tell I have only this time and space. We cannot take more than what we can chew. It's very important that we should not dump everything and then struggle to eat, right? So it's very important we can take only what we can eat. Once you put forward your problems, once you make people around you accept you as you are, I think it will boost the confidence. It will become an institutionalized sensitization, which is very important. This sensitization makes us more stronger. It makes us as a holistic wellness at education. It's very important that whatever may be your ups or downs, it's very important that we have a normal routine. Because you are a slow learner, you may need that extra time, 30 minutes every day extra to do your homework. You may have to spend more time reading than your peer. You may have to write more and see if you're not able to read and your memory is not too good. You may have to use audio visual aids if you are not able to understand your textbooks. It's very important. Everything under the knowledge has support in YouTube today. Any subject for that matter, you can Google. There were days when we as students used to actually go to libraries and search for books. Now, at the tip of your hands, you have everything available in your phone. Spend little more time for yourself. Instead of, don't worry about people branding you as a slow learner or a fast learner or a person with attention deficit or person with some kind of disability. I hate to use this word disability, but that is a word that is widely recognized for all of us. Show me one person who does not have any disability. There will be all of us. So it's very important that we understand and involve for our wellness and then make people around us understand. You cannot make the whole world understand you, but tell your problem to your parents, teachers, your peers. The minute they know that this is your limitation, you will start building friendships. They will share you, they will guide you, help you, and this will automatically make you overcome your sense of isolation or lack of understanding. First and foremost, be fearless, friends. Never ever give up. Don't forget from where you started and why you started this journey. And it's very important. Sometimes it is very overwhelming that you feel like giving it up because I can't be in this studies. I can't do this like others. I want to give up. That is when you should not forget why you started. It's very important that you should not forget why you started. I think that's when the enthu and motivation to continue begins. And you, after 3 or 4 years of college, when you make that and make your graduation happen, I think that will be the biggest moment of joy for you and your family. Till such time, push yourself with positive approach. It's very, very important that you should be fearless. You should not give up. And no matter the struggle is, you just keep that push in yourself high. As institutions, as well-wishers, faculties, teachers, we all want to provide accessibility. We all want to give equal opportunities. The inclusion and learning environment will be very equal. I think any educational institution like EMIT actually coming forward with this particular subject is very heartwarming. Why? Because this is one subject that people don't really talk about. There are plenty of things that are still a taboo in our society. Talking about sex, talking about menstrual hygiene, talking about different sickness. talking about our own challenges, talking about mental health, all that is still a taboo in our society. I think if you look back 3 civilizations or 4 civilizations back, our temples themselves have shown that we were much more an inclusive society. But unfortunately, in the transition, as I said earlier, we have somewhere lost all that. Now is the time we are sensitizing everybody around us to bring back that equal opportunity. How can you provide this accessibility, as I call the 3A concepts, the AAA concepts, the third A notes for accessibility? First and foremost, we have to provide them additional teaching aids. There are plenty of audiobooks. There are plenty of videos that talk about the subject. Use them. Take help. Go talk to your teachers and ask them what it suits you. There is no generic way. Psychologists may come up saying with different rehab therapies, different slow learning exercises, give you confidence, lot of things which educators in that area do. But as an institution, as a very common man, we have to understand that all of us have the equal opportunity. This opportunity, we have to go and knock on it. We should not feel shy because of our challenges. Let us not give reservations and tell them that, okay, they can't do this, we'll do reservation. Try to give them additional provisions instead of restrictions. Don't tell them, no, you can't take up this subject because you are a slow learner and this subject needs 90% to score. Tell them, yes, this subject needs 90% to score. You should not stop your hard work at 100%, but you have to put in 150% to make it possible. It is that little extra mile that we need to take in life to make it possible. It's very, very important. It's easy to give up, right? It takes only 1 minute to decide, I'm not going to do this anymore, I'm done with it. But it takes a lifetime to prove that others around you are wrong. Prove your own self and your inhibitions wrong. Prove yourself that you are more stronger and more confident than what you can actually think of. Tell me something, friends. Last year, March, when the pandemic hit all of us, did we have laptops? Did we have institutionalized infrastructure to have distance learning? Did we have all these networks and infrastructure to connect on Zoom and or Google Meet or anything and learn online? Did we ever imagine this situation? No. But when the pandemic pushed us overnight into this situation, all of us gained that accessibility. All of us found alternatives. All of us thought, what next we can do? Did our colleges close? Did our educational institutions stop the teaching? Did all of us stop attending classes? No, we just changed the way we were operating. Our teachers in no time became online educators. Trust me, friends, I am in the IT industry for the last 23 years. And I will tell you, it takes a lot of time for transition and transformation. To bring in an infrastructure that is conducive for usage takes a lot of time. We do a lot of testing. We do iterations to ensure the connectivities are all there. We have a backup plan. We have everything. But what happened in the academic world? All of you are COVID warriors. All of you, from being as institutional, you were all going to college, you were all checking on the whiteboards and blackboards, learning from your teachers, writing notes, getting back. Today, I don't know how many of you are accessing this session from your mobile phones, from your own homes and laptops. It was possible, right? Only because what we did? We focused on solutions. We thought differently. We actually thought from a different perspective. Tamil solnona maati yosichom. Okay, now the classrooms are no longer possible. What did we do? We came to online education. We started finding ourselves a better way to keep ourselves moving with the requirement. I think all of you passed out of your first year, second year, or whatever, and came to this particular year of education because you adapted yourself within the limitations. Give that chance for slow learners. Give that opportunity to yourself. Give that opportunity to people around you. There may be people who are fast learners who need to higher education. If somebody is too good and they qualify to be in, not second year but third year, your institution can actually check if they are good enough for the third year. Who knows? They may become a new scientist in the marine world, making a lot of changes for all of us here. So it's very important that we actually create provisions and not restrictions. So this pandemic is a big example. We did not restrict ourselves from stopping our education system. Instead, we created provisions. Similarly, for slow learners, create provisions. Give them the aids that are required. If they have to practice more, all of us learn by practicing mathematics or any other subject, right? If I write 2 times and get that into my head, if I am a slow learner, I have to write 5 times to get it to my head. Let's do it. Memorize more. Try to meditate and improve your concentration. Keep your environment around you noise free. Keep your environment around you conducive. Tell your parents not to fight when you are studying. Tell your TV, your grandparents watching television, to put the volume on mute or on low. You have to make your environment conducive for learning. That's important. Because we are no longer in the classrooms where, the entire classroom is dedicated for education. We have made our living rooms our workspaces. We have made them our offices. We have made them our classrooms. And everybody in the families also are understanding us. They are doing sacrifices by not making noise and by not watching television, by not even eating around you when you are on a session. So respect that. Similarly, when we come back to the slow learning, it's very important that we build a community with equal opportunity. For example, if at work, what work I do for 4 hours, somebody may take 8 hours. I give them that space to do it in 8 hours. Not everybody can be the same. Not all fingers in our hands are same. So what is, if suppose I'm doing it in 4 hours, there may be a very good fast learner who can just finish it by writing a code on machine learning and doing it fatafat in 1 hour and go off. So look at innovative methods. The person with 8 hours work is putting in extra effort to deliver the same job. Similarly, a person like me who can do it in 4 hours, I am also putting in my all possibilities to deliver the same job. Somebody who's using an automation tool or an innovative method is doing it in much faster way. Respect that innovation. It's all important that we understand that the same job can be done differently by different people. Not everybody can do it equally. But the output will be equal when we all understand that the time taken, the effort taken have to be appropriate to give a same output. So depending upon your knowledge, depending upon your skill, depending upon your compatibility and your talent, your own confident level, I think all of us can give that same output. So respect that extra effort, respect the time taken, respect the additional tools and methodologies that are needed. For example, I'm an old school type. I still write my diary and keep my log of what I do every day. My daughter uses her phone to put a time stamp on every day what she needs to do. Somebody may remember it in their head and just do whatever is needed in every single day. But end of it, all of us are trying to have a proper day. End of the day, we are all trying to finish whatever we have planned for that single day. Only thing is, the means of achieving that is different. Once you identify and provide that different means to different students, I think the whole purpose is solved. Enhanced support services is nothing but providing that additional support. I'll tell you in a very simple example. My grandmother, though she was working, she used to spend whatever time she had in the kitchen for cooking. She used to hand grind everything, right from hand pounded rice taken from as a grain from a paddy crop to bringing the food on the table. Later on, my mother came up with little bit of conveniences like mixie, grinder, everything. Today, we have a much more sophisticated lifestyle of preserving things in refrigerator, heating it up in our ovens and supplying food. Our children have much more ability and accessibility for ordering food online, the food of the choice, homemade food, food of different cuisines at the click of a button on a Zomato or a Swiggy. End of the day, what is happening? It is just the food that's getting delivered on the table. So if you tell my mother and grandmother was waste, I don't think so. They provided a much more healthier food. And was my way of living a waste? No, I changed with the times of changes. Is my children doing wrong? No, they are just using the opportunities available to them. This example is just to show that the outcomes matter in any business or an institution or in a learning, irrespective of the challenges that you may have. So give that extra time, give that extra attention, give that extra aids that you may have to. Do not quantify that. You do not quantify that I am putting 10 hours for learning something what my friend is learning within 1 hour. All of us are different. Once we understand that differences is what makes us much stronger, I think we will definitely aim at a better learning possibilities. So the important steps is we should not forget that education is for all, irrespective of whether we are a slow learner or a fast learner or how much ever we are able to contribute. Protection of rights. You cannot brand a student saying that they are slow learner, or even if they are suffering from autism, dyslexia, you can recommend special schools if they are struggling to fit into the mainstream, but do not discriminate if they want to be part of the mainstream education. It's very important. Everybody has their own potential. Everybody has their own skill sets. Everybody has their own way of learning. Respect that. Their perspectives are different, but their outcomes have to be the same. For that, each one of us will provide opportunities. There can be challenges. A slow learner may take additional time to finish their homework. Please be empathical. Students, please put forward your limitations in words. You don't expect your teachers or your parents to understand you just like that. Go talk to them. Your curiosity levels are high. Improve that. Your creativity will be high. Focus on that. Maybe we cannot reproduce, we cannot by heart and reproduce in examination. Understand the concept. Reproduce the way it is meaningful to you and meaningful to the person who is correcting your papers. As long as the concept is right and as long as you're able to communicate that, I think it's important. It's very important that you should not kill your curiosity, kill your creativity, or kill your communication. When you have this triple C, you will build your confidence to face life head on. It's very important that all of us have to develop a bit of humanities around us. And exactly that is what your college is doing that. And I'm grateful to this institution for even organizing a session like this, because they are thinking about providing equal opportunities to all of you. You should be very grateful for studying in this college, because they are even thinking about the smallest percentage, whom we in general terms call minority communities, in the institution. I'm not talking about minority communities in terms of caste, religion, or creed. I'm talking in terms of how much we are in par with these people called as normal. All of us go through challenges, especially in these pandemic times. The challenges are much more, and it's very, very important that we focus our attention on solutions. Quality of inclusive education is almost very different. The institutions which provide opportunities for children by all means are the institutions that are making gems in the industry. These are the people who are building India the way it needs to be. You are the future of this country. You are the confidence of this country. We are in the path of being called a developed nation, and all of you have chosen careers that are going to make changes, not just in your life, but in the life of your families, in the life of the country, communities around us. Let us together build a much more inclusive and stronger society, so that, whatever may be the learning difficulties you have, we will, end of the day, be a successful person. I want to give you an example. Please Google Dr. Nandakumar IRS. Dr. Nandakumar IRS was the autistic child who had a dropout in 8th standard, and later on he pursued education outside, and today he is one of the most prominent speaker in Chennai city. It's very important we look at examples that encourage us to be bolder, stronger, and being ourselves. Thanks to your college, thanks to the management, your professors, especially Professor Kalpana ma'am, for reaching out to me and giving me this wonderful opportunity to talk about how we can help students from all sides. It's very, very important that we should not categorize and segregate people, but build unity in diversity. Stand by the principles of the preamble of Constitution, which is very important for us to provide exclusive fundamental right for equal opportunities to all of us. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity, and have a wonderful time ahead. And I hope you have gained something. 1 hour is definitely not enough to take you through the therapies or take you through all the methods, but look forward. What is correct for you, identify that and go ahead. I'm sure it's going to help each one of you. All of us will be successful, if not today, tomorrow. Hoping for a better future and wishing you all the very best. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Your words of wisdom has enlightened the participants. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Sir. Thank you.
Now it's the time to say vote of thanks. Good afternoon to everyone present here. It gives me an immense pleasure to propose the vote of thanks for the webinar on methodologies for managing slow learners. First and foremost, I would like to thank our Honorable Chancellor and Pro-Chancellor, respected Vice Chancellor and Registrar for granting permission to organize this webinar and providing all necessary supports. On behalf of IQSC and organizing secretaries, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to dignified resource person, Mrs. Uma Sri Raghunath, for her inspiring and motivational speech. Thank you, ma'am. I must express my heartfelt gratitude to all the faculty and student participants who took time to listen and learn from this webinar. I extend my thanks to System Support, PRO Office, IQSC team, all participants and all my colleagues for their encouragement and moral support in organizing this webinar. Thank you once again to all of you. Dear participants, the feedback link is available in the chat box. Kindly fill up the feedback form. And all of you, stay home, stay safe. Thank you. Thank you once again.
Dr.
Thank
Kalpana,
you so much.
I see one question. I see one question in the chat box. Joel has been asking, how can we overcome language problem? India, there are more than 500 languages. Joel, I wish I can learn at least 15 of them. Unfortunately, it's not possible. So let's focus on 3 languages at least, okay? The first and foremost, your mother tongue. Never give up on that. Learn at least to speak. If not, you're living in the same place, and don't give up on your mother tongue, because we are the people who will carry that legacy forward. Second, your language of communication. India still recognizes English as the official language of communication. So learn English. The small tips that I gave you: read your newspaper every day, try to learn 10 words from the dictionary. There are plenty of books available. Learn, identify a buddy who is having the same problem and talk to them. See, when I went to learn German class, I pulled my husband just because I need somebody to talk, right? If I learn a language, I need somebody to talk. Poor man came to my classes and slept half the time. But that is how, pull your buddy along with you to learn a language. It's very important. Watch movies, watch videos with translators, and that's when I think you will slowly pick a language. You can't learn all the languages, but whatever is. The second one, the language in the place of your work. For example, you are from Andhra and you're in Chennai, try to learn Tamil a bit. If you're from Chennai and going to work in Maharashtra, try to speak a bit of Hindi. That makes you not struggle, you know, talking to auto wallahs, talking to bus, buying groceries. It's not that you cannot be adamant saying I will not learn a language. Every 400 kilometers, as you travel in the train to the breadth and width of India, you will hear a new language. So, you know, even the coffee tea wala who comes to the train speak different languages after 400 kilometers. So you cannot learn, but there are few common languages. I'm not promoting any specific language, but once from south, if you travel anywhere in the north, you need a bit of Hindi, I think. So learn Hindi if you're planning to work or, you know, travel to North India. And if you are trying to go and settle in Bangalore, at least small bits of Kannada, you know, try to understand the language, the basics, 10 words, and that's where you start. Gottilla, that will make a Gottilla happen, okay? So Gottilla is like, I don't know. So I'm not a Kannadiga, but I'm just trying to give you an example. So what makes you more closer to people at work is the language. All of us at work also speak English, but the minute I hear somebody talk Tamil, I will be very happy. When I went to States, you know, the minute you crossed India, people don't call you whether you're a Madrasi or an Andhra or anything, but they all call you Desi. So you're all an Indian. And then once you cross South Asia or Asia for that matter, when you go to the other side of the other continents, they call you, are you an Asian? So that's how they recognize us, right? So understand where you are going and learn that language to make your life little more convenient. I think these 3 are important: where you come from, your official language of communication, and then where you want to go. That will make your language problems solved 90%. Rest of it, we have Google translators, thanks to our Pichaya brother. Over to you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you so much for your energetic and informative speech, ma'am. And thanks for your spending your precious time also. And I really admire the important aspects of this AAA concepts. Really admire this awareness, acceptance, and accessibility also. And thank you and so much. Nandri.
Thank you. Thank you. Wishing you all a very good day ahead.
Yeah,
right?
thank you. Thank you.